this video, we're going to be talking about an introduction to polynomials, some definitions, and identifying degrees of terms in polynomials. So the first thing we're going to talk about is a monomial. So mono, that word mono means one. And what this means is one term. So mono meaning one. And it's made up of the product of constants and the variables could be raised to whole number exponents, or it could just be a number itself, constant. Okay. Monomials do not have addition or subtraction. It can have a negative number, but it's not going to be adding or subtracting different terms. So no negative exponents and no fractional exponents are allowed. All right. So a coefficient is the number that's getting multiplied by a variable. So if I said 3x squared, 3 is the coefficient. The degree of a monomial is the sum of all the exponents of the variables. So a number, a whole number, has a degree of 0. Or not just a whole number, but any constant has a degree of 0 because there is no variable. So this is all about the variables and the exponents. So if there's no variable, this would have degree 0. There is no variable. It's the same thing as saying x to the 0 power, which is just 1. Now if there's other variables, then it's going to be the sum of all the exponents of each variable. And we're going to talk more about this in the examples as well. A polynomial, that word poly means many, so many terms. But it can be one term or more. So you can call anything that's one term or more a polynomial. So this has 2 terms, this has 3 terms. These are all polynomials, so it just means many. You can also have, or you might also see the word binomial. So mono means 1, bi means 2, and tri means 3. So those are also terms that you might hear, but all of these could be called polynomials, right? These are all, just some polynomials have specific names. And polynomials are made up of the addition or subtraction of terms. So this is a term, this is a term, or you could call it a monomial itself. So here, one term, another term, 3 terms. Now the degree of a polynomial is the largest degree of any of the monomials, so any of the terms in here. Don't confuse this with the degree of a monomial. So a monomial is a sum of those exponents with the variables, but there's only one term, versus the degree of a polynomial, you look at the degree of each term, and then it's just the largest one that you see. You don't add them together. And then you'll also see this word sometimes that says leading term, and that is the term with the highest degree. Alright. So in this example, they asked us to identify the coefficient and degree of each term, and then find the degree of each polynomial. So we're talking about coefficient and the degree of each term, or each monomial, and then the degree of the polynomial. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at these. This first one, the coefficient, is 4. Right? 4 times x, that's the number being multiplied by the variable. The degree is 5. That's the exponent to the variable. And since there's only one term, the degree of this polynomial is also 5. In this next example, I'm going to break it into, by each term. Right? I'm looking for the coefficient. So go ahead and draw a line all the way across here. That was the first example. here, and alright. So the coefficient to the first term here, so their terms are separated by plus and minus, right? So the coefficient is 4, the degree is 5, and I can't answer this question yet, I don't have enough info. So I have to do the degree of the next term. So the degree here was 7, the coefficient was 7, the degree is 3, so the exponent. The last one, the coefficient is -1, so that it's the constant itself is also the coefficient. And the degree is 0 because there is no variable. And then I want to know the degree of the polynomial. So the degree of the polynomial is the highest one that we see, not the sum, the highest one. So the degree of that polynomial is 5, because that was the highest degree we saw. On this one, sometimes students think this is more than one term, but it's not. There's no plus and minus in between these variables. This is all multiply, multiply, multiply. So this is one single term. The coefficient to this term is -2, and the degree is the sum of all the exponents. Sometimes I get the answer 2, but this is x to the first power, z to the first power. So there's 1 plus 2 plus 1. This term has degree 4. And again, since there's only one term, the degree of that polynomial is also 4. Over here, this is 2 terms. So I'm going to break it into 2 here. And the coefficient to the first term is 1. There's no number here. This is like 1 times y. The coefficient to the second term is 6. 6 times y. Then the degrees are the exponents. So this has degree 3, and this, if there's no number there, that is a 1. That's y to the first power has degree 1. Overall, the degree of that polynomial is the highest one we saw, the largest value, which was 3. So it has degree 3. Don't confuse these two. This one was one term. I add those exponents together. This was 2 terms. I look at the highest degree, the largest degree I found. The largest degree we found was 3. All right, why don't you go ahead and try the next one? Alright, we're looking at this example. It says, identify the coefficient and degree of each term, then the degree of the polynomial. So again, I need to find the coefficient of each term, the degree of each term, and then the degree of the polynomial. Alright, so I have to look at these terms individually, and I want the degree and coefficient of each. The coefficient is the number out front, so 7, 6, 2, and -4. Right? The number being multiplied by the variables or a constant. The degree is the sum of the exponents for each individual term. So this is 2 plus 1. This term has degree 3. This is 2 plus 1 plus 1. This has degree 4. This does not have a variable. It's like x to the 0 power. So the degree is 0. And then this is just y cubed, so it's degree 3. The degree of the polynomial is the largest degree we found. So the largest degree we found was 4. Not the sum, the largest. The sum was within one term. The largest is for the whole thing. What's the largest one that we found? Something else that you might see or hear in your homework is that phrase or the vocabulary leading term. So if we were to put a polynomial in descending order, the leading term is the one with the highest degree. So the leading term here would be 6x squared yz. And then usually you go in descending order from large to small. I'm not going to write this one large to small because this has two that are the same degree, but that leading term is always the one with the highest degree, and so the leading coefficient would be 6, and the leading degree would be 4. So it's all about that leading term. Alright, good luck with your homework.